We're here today with Jacob Rolfe. We got some Corona extras is what we're gonna share today and just talk about life. So I got you. I'm holding this up. We don't have lime though, so please don't.
I told him we were gonna get slander from that. Please be generous.
Alright, there we go.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers. The first time we met was, I think, Naira's Friendsgiving.
Yep.
100%. Yeah, and you had like these records because we all brought like some vinyls, and you had a very, very handy collection over there.
Yeah, I brought that Thundercat box set too.
Yeah.
That was fun.
When did you start collecting?
My dad he left me like a huge collection that I've had since I was a baby. I got my first record player in 2017, so I obviously started then like really like diving into like older stuff like that. And I initially got the record player because I wanted to start sampling and stuff, and that didn't work out as well as I wanted it to, so I just used it for like personal enjoyment. And then I found like some old records that I really liked, so I like got a list of artists from the stuff that my dad left me, and I kind of went off that, like just got different albums or like other pieces of work, like the more critically acclaimed ones, I guess. I think that vinyl really captures like real instruments better.
Traveling a little bit further back, talk about like your early influences of, what you were listening to when you were growing up.
So my parents really liked like Marvin Gaye, but only like his big hits. They weren't like deep divers into him, but I remember they always had like his big hits on, like Let's Get It On, Sexual Healing. It's kind of weird now that I think about it, but I appreciated it for what it was. The rock and roll that you hear on the radio and stuff like that, I grew up listening to a lot of that, like Green Day. And
that was your first concert, right?
Yeah, I was 11, and me and my mom got my stepdad tickets for his birthday, but I feel like it was kind of for me.
Yeah.
Like just for like us to go do something, but like that was a really crazy concert. That was actually at Amway Arena before it got demoed. So
oh,
was pretty
shoot.
Cool, yeah.
Did you start making beats like off the bat, or were you trying to pick up any instruments at first? Like how did that transition go?
So I grew up taking guitar lessons. Probably I started like 11, 12, 13. But I never got like really into it. And then I took keyboarding, like piano class in high school for 2 years, and I kind of like with both of those instruments through the lessons that I took, I feel like I really just like kind of learned chords, and I didn't really get the theory behind both of the instruments. So I started making beats when I was dating this girl fresh out of high school. I was just hanging out at her house on her iPad, and I opened up GarageBand, and I was just like looping stuff.
Okay.
And I made like probably 10 different tracks off of just the Apple loops that they had. I was like, this is kind of cool. So I saved up and got my own stuff. I got a keyboard, a drum machine, some software, a microphone. And yeah, I think like probably 2-3 months after I had that set up at my house, I recorded my first mixtape with a buddy of mine. Shout out Woody 1K. It was an exciting time for me to see my producer tag on somebody else's song on SoundCloud.
I understand that you're working on a new project now.
Yeah.
Like, talk about kind of like the evolution from when you first started, learning these new techniques and these new like approaches into creating a song or writing a song, and how you're planning to implement that on this new project.
I go through waves with my music. I will go through a period of time where I just want to be a producer. Then I'll get into like this mood where I want to be a solo artist, and I'll make a full song, write the whole song, and then I'll get up to the microphone and just I immediately understand why I don't like doing vocals anymore. So then I'll take a step back and try to songwrite for people. And so through all of these decisions, I was like, maybe I should just use everything that I like, all of the different moods that I have, and put a project together. I wanted to make it like a fun, kind of lighthearted, dancey album with like a hip hop influence behind it. I didn't want it to be completely hip hop because I want to be able to have people like, you know, kind of groove into it if we're listening to it at a kickback or something like that. I think it's going to be a little bit of everything. I'm going to, you know, put some different seasoning on different stuff, keep it fresh and exciting
Yeah,
the whole
of
way
course.
through. But it's going to have like a centered theme.
Nice. You can hear the K-Tronada influence because
Yeah.
I know you love K-Tronada.
Yeah, hip hop is that's my root, so I'm gonna like keep that bass in there. I have to. It's what's natural to me. My inspirations aren't like what my sound is. I mean, I guess kind of like K-Tronada, obviously. You know, you gotta have respect for like Metro Boomin just because he like
Changed.
yeah,
like everything.
He literally like made 808s like the hottest thing in hip hop, and I don't know, that was crazy. Knowledge as well, because his sampling's up there with Kanye, and Kanye. You gotta give respect to the GOAT. He's like the most eccentric producer.
Jumping a little all over the place right now, though, I want to talk about one of my favorite memories with you. And I mentioned Concept Sound, and I think that is one of a favorite memory that we've definitely shared together, like that experience,
100%.
because we were able to kind of pull off this huge event with Naira and other people that were involved and helped put it together, but also kind of being able to see the crowd response and your friends and your supporters and your family all there, seeing you and Adam do your thing. Like, it was inspiring to see that. Like, I felt
that was
very happy for you. You know what I mean?
I completely understand. That was I was very like relieved and glad to see that, like, you know, people being there for you rather than just saying that they'll be there for you.
Right.
Acting on their words. That was a major kind of security thing for me. A month before the show, I went up to Missouri to make some music with my best friend. Shout out Adam Jackson. And we made probably 6 songs, I believe. And we had this man himself mix them for us and stuff and have them ready to be performed. And yeah, we went out there, never performed before, never even rehearsed or anything like that. And we just had a blast. We did our thing. I wasn't even like nervous before it happened. I was just like anxious, and I wanted to like get it done. Like that hour leading up to it, I was just like, I just want to do this right now. Like, I don't want to keep waiting on it. And it went very well. And we had everybody in the crowd jumping. A lot of it was friends and family to support, and there was like a decent amount of people who just came up that I haven't met before that and said that they really enjoyed our show. And that was a just super heartwarming, uplifting night.
It was, man.
Overall.
It was literally like a movie.
Yeah, it was.
Very cinematic.
And I'm glad that we got to open up for office hours, because that was the show, man.
It was just kind of like magical. Like that last moment, you know, we were all in the bathroom and we were like, all right, this is it. Like, there's a huge amount of people here. Like, definitely at least like 200.
Yeah.
And
We packed that brewery, man.
And shout out to Castle Church, by the way, too.
Yeah, big time.
You had the lights on like at the perfect time,
me
too.
and Adam flipped the lights on perfectly. You guys didn't even count in or anything. We just had a feeling.
Yeah, we just had to look at
We were
each
like,
other.
right now, we just flipped the switch and it was perfect.
That shit was epic, actually. Yeah.
Being down there, like looking at you guys doing that, I was like, I'm so happy to call these guys my friends. Like I was just like, I looked over and like there's just like girls like dancing and stuff, and I was like, this is awesome. Yeah.
I know that we have had discussions before about, you know, anxiety and like how we personally deal with it. You know, how does it impact you? You know, what does it prevent you from doing, and how do you kind of tackle that challenge?
Man, dealing with anxiety, sometimes you just like get in that very negative phase where you don't even want to get out of it. You've just accepted it for like, this is what it is, and like I'm just gonna have to like live through this.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, you know, like you just gotta like get outside your box, you know. You just gotta escape your head, and I think a big thing I do, which is actually a very recently, I found out through Starbucks, being a partner at Starbucks, I get a free Headspace membership, which is like
nice.
meditation app.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, and I can really like sit down and just listen to somebody, you know, them like guiding you to like what you're thinking about, you know, and then like getting you to just focus on something else. If like I can like get into my zone deep enough during a meditation session, like I will forget what I was even stressing out about before that happens, because being in this quarantine was like it's a really big challenge. I don't want to sound cliche, but making beats, that's like, you know,
it takes your mind off of it.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. It's a distraction. I wouldn't say it's necessarily like something that like relieves it.
Exactly.
That's temporary.
That's a huge thing actually, because we can distract ourselves with stuff.
Yeah.
But does it necessarily like help you? Oh, I'm distracted, but I'm not doing anything.
The second you stop and you're sitting there with like, you know, a filled head, you don't know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't figured out, you know, my anxiety yet. I don't think. I mean, is figuring out your anxiety, is it getting over it? Is that like?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think that with everything that we deal with, it all like stems from like childhood trauma, I believe. If you ever figure out where it stems from or what it is, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily getting over it, but you can definitely at least know how to potentially handle it better.
Yeah. And I've been dealing with anxiety for what is it, 2020, so like probably like 4 or 5 years now, like seriously, like being aware that like, okay, this feeling is anxiety, like I'm not okay mentally right now, you know, like when you were younger we probably had it, but we were just like, you know,
you're not really
exposed, stomach hurts
or
something. Yeah, you don't really like know like what it is or where it's coming from. When I was younger, like elementary to like maybe like 6th or 7th grade, I always struggled like having friends. Like I always had like maybe, you know, 3 or 4 of the guys that like were in my neighborhood or something like that. But at school, like wasn't relatable or anything like that, you know. And I think now like when things happen, it makes me feel like, oh, maybe I'm not like, why am I not being accepted, or why am I not relatable enough, or why can't like I be enough, or
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And which is why I'm blessed to have like the group of friends that I have now, where I can be like completely open with myself, like right now with you know, like 5 years ago I couldn't seriously have a conversation with one of my friends about this, but you know, like I've really come to terms with accepting myself and being, you know, just goofy ass Jake that everybody knows. But
yeah,
I think I've been open about letting everybody know that like stuff isn't always okay with me, and you know, everybody for the most part handles that really well, and you know, there wasn't anybody that didn't accept that, and you know, they still embraced, and if anything, like I feel like it made me and a lot of like my current friends closer. And moving to Lake Nona, it was a huge advantage for me, because I lived here for about 4 years, or maybe 5 years actually, and since I met like you guys were my first group of friends that like I actually hung out with. Shout out Starbucks for meeting everybody. I go through anxiety stages in my life, and I go through depression stages in my life, and I'm not gonna be codependent on you guys that like got me out of my depression stage, but like becoming friends with y'all really like was a tool for me to get out of that, and that like led to me accepting myself for who I am, and you know, not trying to be something that I'm not.
Yeah.
And it was very healthy for me, and I know we're not always gonna stay, you know, top notch at the top of our mental and physical health and stuff, because I'm sure as hell not right now, but like,
yeah, man, I feel that
it's good to get your it's good to like, you know, be grateful and appreciate and acknowledge like those shining times that you have, so you can like know that you were at that point one time, and that it's possible to get back, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That for me, that was like a huge thing, because you reflect back on a certain part of your life and you're like, you know, I'm capable of being that happy, I'm capable of loving, I'm capable of being loved, you know, like I am loved. and remembering that, I think, is key.
Yeah, 100%. I wrote a little like a little ditty on Instagram a while back.
I do recall.
Yeah, and that was a very that was a window into my mind of what love was, and I'll stick with that. That was like how I felt for a while, and then certain events happened, and I wanted to express that, and I will continue to remain to feel that way. And it was basically like, love is a risk, that you got to take, and you feel it when it's there and you feel it when it's not. Basically, to sum it up, that was basically what it's about. And I very rarely forget that when I think about like the absence of love. Like I know that it's a risk, but you got to take it.
Yeah, if not, you're not gonna know what that experience was like.
Exactly.
You, at that point in your life, you were in love, or you were very happy, or you were excited, like those are good memories.
Yeah.
So just continuing to remember that is, I think, extremely powerful. And just taking that with you wherever you go. Focus on yourself and elevate yourself first.
Yeah.
Then you can give that love to somebody, if you are full and 100 also. At the end of the day, I think people are not always going to be at 100 all the time, because
No, not at all.
you go through so many different periods and phases of your life. But making sure that you can kind of always get back there, whether or not you're in a relationship, like that's the most important thing, because you're talking about your life, at that point. So it's like coming home. That's kind of like what home was about too, like on Baldwin. It's just kind of like coming back to being in tune with yourself.
Everything that I need to stay focused on is all relatively stuff that I'm already interested in. So the focus, like the distractions, aren't really distractions,
Yeah,
So yeah,
I get you. That's good, man. Well, again, thank you for sitting down with me and having this conversation.
thank you.
You know
for
that
having
I'm,
me.
of course, that I'm going to be supporting you, and I'm here for you for whatever that you need, and to cheer you on the sidelines for any of your endeavors, and
On
to
the
mix
sidelines, you mix my stuff.
and to mix your project. Yeah, I was about to say.
What
No, but with anything, like I got you, I got you, and I got mad love and respect for you, and I'm proud to see like where you've come from since I first met you, and you had like just these ideas kind of, and like drafts of stuff, and then like letting it flourish, and releasing your project, and now working on another one. So I'm excited for you, and I'm grateful for you, man.
Thank you. You too, bro. I love you as well.
I'll do anything to get my soul back. What's left, let it go to the music. I'll do anything to get my soul back. What's left, let it go to the music. I'll